Okay, today it's another video about the EEW Nano, and this time I'm going to talk about getting started. So if you're a completely new beginner spinner, this is everything you'll need to do to get up and spinning. First I'm going to go over all the names of all the parts of this thing, so when I talk about something you know what it is that I'm talking about. First we'll go over the bits that are the same as on a regular wheel. First bit of that would be this part here. This is the flyer. This is what turns around and puts twist into your yarn. Either side of the flyer, it's got two what we call arms. The bit down the middle that goes through the bobbin is called the shaft, and these are called hooks or guides. They're what helps you feed your yarn onto the bobbin. This big hole here at the front is called the orifice. This is where the yarn goes in, comes out of that hole, through the guides and onto there. This is the orifice reducer. The only purpose of this is to stop your yarn banging around in the orifice as you spin. If you spin without it on, you'll notice that your yarn takes a large circle. Every time the flyer turns, your yarn will turn in there, and some people, including me, find that a little bit annoying. So we put this in and it will make a far smaller circle. When you push your orifice reducer in, make sure it's not rubbing here. This part here is called the front maiden, that one's the back maiden. Now this is what's slightly different to normal spinning wheels. You've got bearings, sealed ball bearings in the front and the back. A lot of wheels have got them in the front. I've not seen many traditional wheels, lots of wheels have got them in the back, not seen any traditional wheels in the front, but it just helps the flyer turn a lot more smoothly. The tension system is here. It is a band which goes over the bobbin and attaches on either side. The system that came with the Nano was just a plain piece of elastic. I've changed this to a more standard Scotch tension system with a little peg here. So as I turn that, you can see the spring at the back is stretching, getting looser and stretching, and that puts more or less tension on this cord. The Nano likes very, very low tension, so I'll start with it there and mess with it a bit more later. If you've not changed your brake band, it'll work exactly the same way. The band will hook in at the back, come over here and hook in there. So you just have to grab it with your fingers and pull it a little bit to tighten it, and pull it that way or lift it out and reseat it to loosen it. Other bits that are similar to other wheels, this here is your orifice hook. That is for getting your yarn from this side to this side. So normally you'll start off with something attached to your bobbin, put your orifice hook through here and grab it. And it's got some nice little magnets so that stays attached to the base so you don't lose it. Now we'll talk about things that are unique to this because it's an e-spinner. We have a look underneath. You've got your circuit board, which you do not need to bother with, and your motor. Motor has a shaft that comes out onto this side here that attaches to this pulley. The pulley then has a drive band looped around it that loops around the flyer, similar to on a regular wheel, except here your pulley is very, very small. On a regular spinning wheel, this is the equivalent of the massive drive wheel. You can see as the motor turns this pulley, the flyer turns, and that's how this works. On this side you have your power input, your speed control and your on-off switch. Your on-off switch has three positions: it's clockwise, off and anti-clockwise. Clockwise and anti-clockwise are marked Z and S because that is what we call them in spinning. If you have a look at a bit of plied yarn, which I don't believe I have any here, but I have my control card, you'll be able to see that the ply, the angle of the twist can either go that way, like the middle bar of a Z, or it can go that way, like the middle bar of an S, so that's why we call it that. Generally you will spin your singles Z, which is clockwise, and then you'll ply your yarns, ply your singles together S, which is anti-clockwise. So for now we'll just that switch to Z, and we're ready to spin singles. Before we actually spin, we'll just make sure that it works, that you understand what the controls do. So I will plug it in. I'm using a battery here purely because I'm not near a mains outlet, and I've got a little switch here that lets me turn on and off without having to get my hands in that teeny gap. My speed control is on 0. Here's just a little non-stick mat to stop it sliding across the table. I'll make sure my tension is nice and loose and turn the dial. And there we go, it starts spinning quite slowly. I'm at about that position on the dial, about 10 o'clock. Switch it up to 12 o'clock and then turn it all the way up. You can see you've got quite a wide range of speeds. Yours should work exactly the same. If it doesn't, then check out my troubleshooting video. If it makes too much noise, again, check out that video. Mine's been a bit clanky at the moment. I think it's probably the bobbin. Okay, I'll end this one here so it's not too long, and next video I'll move on to talking about selecting your fibre. Again, we won't actually be spinning yet, we'll just be talking about what you're going to do to prepare to spin.